Well, on the stage, we've got the Sky Next crew. We're here to talk to three amazing athletes who have just returned from Rio with, obviously, silver Olympic medals. They've brought their medals, which is pretty exciting. So you'll have a chance to have a look at the medal later. It's quite epic. It's about 3 times the size of the one I won, so I'm feeling a bit hard done by. Before we get to the athletes and ask them some questions, and we've got some questions from staff, and there'll also be a chance for you guys to ask some questions before we wrap up. The three athletes on stage are part of, obviously, Sky Next, which has been an initiative that Sky supported over the last several years. Sky Next had Kane Russell from hockey, Emma Twigg was rowing in the Olympic team in Rio, Jasmine was in the football team, Jacko Gill was a shot putter, Angie Petty was the 800 metre runner, and Luca Jones was in the canoe slalom, who also got silver. So quite an amazing group of athletes, all supported by Sky, and that's thanks to you guys and this organisation. So give yourself a pat on the back, because the support really made a difference. So, kicking things off, we've got Tyla Nathan-Wong. Tyla was in the football ferns in the sevens. I'm not like a host, but I'm getting used to this. In the sevens. Remind me not to try and tackle you later. And we've got Sam Webster and Ethan Mitchell, who's in the team sprint on the track. So before we kick off, Sam, do you want to give us a sense of what the team sprint is and the event that you guys compete in?
For the team sprint, it's 3 riders, Ethan in first position, then myself stacked higher up the track, and then Eddie Dawkins is our 3rd rider. He's stacked up even higher. And Ethan's in a controlled start gate with a set countdown. As soon as that releases, it's all hell and fury. It's 3 laps as fast as we can do it. Ethan does 1 lap and peels off. I come through for my lap and I drop Eddie off, and he somehow makes the way to the finish. So it's a really exciting event. It's really short, sharp and fast. It's probably the most clinical event on the track, and also probably the most measurable. It's very common to see races won and lost by hundredths and thousandths of a second. So it's something that we're hugely passionate about, and something that's really cool about the Olympics in particular, also the Commonwealth Games, is that it's sort of the arena and the forum where track cycling really gets great coverage and sort of can inspire people. Because I think, along with Hamish's gold in Athens, probably Sarah Ulmer's gold as well, they're probably the 2 most inspirational gold medals that New Zealand's ever won. And that's something that's really cool about it, sort of raising up and to be able to put forward what we love so much and have your guys' support and the nation's support. It's been amazing.
So, Sam, you're second wheel, so when Ethan jumps out of the gate, you have to get onto his wheel. So it's a power sport. How much can you squat?
I'm the weakest in the team, so my back squat personal best is 185 kgs, and I'm the weakest by quite a bit actually. So Ethan's up around 220 kgs, and so that weight difference means that in the final of the team sprint, Ethan went through the first 250 metres in 16.995 seconds, and that's the first ever time anyone's ever gone under 17 seconds, which is a very big sort of gold standard, the equivalent of the first 100 metre runner to go under 10. So
thanks, Sam.
So that's what 35 kgs difference makes. Has me hanging on for dear life.
And Tyla, for the sevens, how much can you squat?
I think my max has been 120.
120?
Yeah.
And for the first time that sevens was in the Olympics, what was it like? What was it like being there as an athlete, playing in your sport?
I think it was pretty incredible. It has definitely boosted the game for women's rugby a lot ever since its introduction, and it's just been incredible. I've got to pinch myself a bit to think that I've actually been to the Olympics and competed there, and being a part of this massive New Zealand team. We're a team within a team. It's been pretty fantastic being able to go and support the other athletes and getting to know them all and just, having a good time competing on the world stage, really.
Yeah, awesome. And Ethan, it was your second Olympics?
Yep. I competed in London. We were 5th in the team sprint there, so second Olympics for me.
And was there, give us a sense of what it's like to sort of walk into that village as a New Zealand athlete. You've trained 4 years for that one event. What's it like being part of that New Zealand team and in that Olympic village?
Yeah, I think in London especially, I was 20. Was it 20? 21 maybe in London, pretty young anyway. And I remember as we walked into the village, we'd just come from a flight from our holding camp in Bordeaux, and I walked in and the whole, because we'd been briefed that it was going to be a big spectacle and this and that, and I remember as we walked in through the bag check, the whole of the US basketball team walked past us, and it was, LeBron and all those guys, and they're at least double the size of me, and I just remember thinking, far out, I actually am at the Olympics, and that was a moment where you kind of think, like, I don't know, it was that sort of, okay, don't get overwhelmed here, look cool sort of thing. But no, I think this time around we'd gone through, obviously, those emotions at our first Olympics. We were 5th there, and then on to winning Commonwealth Games 2 years later, and then arriving in Rio, we felt a little bit more confident in ourselves, and a little bit more, a little bit less overwhelmed with the whole Olympic feeling. And then obviously to be a part of the New Zealand team, I think the New Zealand support staff and team do such a great job at making it feel like a complete performance environment, and everything really is catered for and is about winning medals. So it's a pretty special place to be a part of.
And Sam, your first Olympics, you were reserve in London. When you come from a small country like New Zealand, and you walk into that village where you've got a collection of the world's greatest athletes across 22 odd sports, whatever it is. What was going through your mind? Did you ever get a sense where you're overwhelmed by how can we possibly have come this far and be here, or was it simply what you expected?
I was very fortunate enough in the London build-up and during the games. I was a reserve, but I was able to have access to the village, so without actually being on the start line, I went through the whole process and had the whole sort of shock and awe of you see Usain Bolt on the other side of the food hall, whereas this time was a very different feeling. It felt like we belonged, and that there wasn't a purpose of going, we're going there to win, but really we'll be happy with the top 10. It was, we're going there to win, full stop. And to have that purpose and to have head into these games having done everything that we could, training wise, we had innovation partners, we had the best bikes that we could create, we had special wheels, and every box had been ticked and exceeded that. Then it meant the whole experience was much more enjoyable, that we had gone through and done our absolute best. So rather than sitting around and worrying, it actually then meant that we were able to enjoy the experience a whole lot more and be a lot more relaxed in what is a high pressure environment. And a lot of teams do turn up and underperform at the Olympics because of these pressures, and they change their routines, or they change how they operate at a usual race. But I think that was the biggest difference. Was this time we were able to go there, follow the routine, follow the plan, and it was much same old for us.
And Tyla, was it for you guys going to a normal sevens tournament versus playing like at the Olympics? Was it different?
It was obviously definitely different. You got all these different countries from all these different sports. It's pretty fun playing the guessing game of what sport everyone was. We try to keep it the same. The best advice that we actually received leading up to it is it's just another tournament. You try and take it and play it the same as you would any other tournament you've played previously. So that's kind of the mentality we took into the Olympics, trying to keep it the same as how we had played within the World Series. So I think that was probably the best advice we received going into it. Obviously the Olympics, it's pretty incredible, as the boys were saying. You walk past Michael Phelps in the dining hall, see Serena and Venus Williams just casually strolling down the road and stuff like that. But that's what we did, try to just focus on our sport. It was pretty good for us too, being the first 3 days of the Olympics, so we didn't have to wait too long to kind of play and weren't getting too anxious. So for us, first 3 days kind of hit it out and then relaxed a bit.
And what was the coolest thing you did once your tournament had finished?
I think actually getting out and seeing the rest of the New Zealand team compete, being able to go to all these different events. Probably one of my highlights was actually going to the canoe slalom and watching Luca get the silver there. That was a pretty incredible experience. Hadn't seen canoe slalom up close before, and just that was pretty awesome to see that.
Yeah, nice one. So we've got a couple of questions. So as we said, we'll grab some questions from the floor as well. Sam, do you want to take this one? This is from Kirsty from HR. Do you get some downtime from training now? And what does it look like for you?
Yeah, definitely going to be taking a good period of downtime. It's been a really big push for us over the last 4 years to build up to Rio. So mental and physical rest is going to be a really important factor in helping us also take the time to reevaluate where the next steps are, but also to push through. I'm really, really keen to go for 4 more years. So taking the time now to really get everything in line and get a vision for that is really important. So I'm in New Zealand for a couple of weeks, and then I've decided to take a holiday, get away from it, travel without a bike for the first time in probably about 8 years. So that'll be fantastic. Although I am wondering whether I'll still be waiting by the oversized baggage for my bags to come out just out of habit. So no, it's going to be fantastic, and it's an opportunity to do all of the things that we normally are restricted to not being able to do because of training or because of fear of injury. So it just means that we can relax and feel that we can lead the lifestyle that sometimes nags in the back of your head that you feel you're missing out on when you're making the choices when it comes around training and performance.
What are some of those things that you have to miss out on?
One of the big things is probably skiing and wakeboarding. Probably wakeboarding on Lake Karapiro is one of the big ones. Although the closer it gets to actually all of these offers, let's go wakeboarding, I'm actually thinking I've got no shot at actually standing up, so I might have to make up some good excuses so I don't look a fool like I did when I went out in the rowboat. So,
So Ethan, so Dan from AdSales has got a question. He says, it's a good question because your event comes down to minute split seconds between winning and coming second. What do you do to mentally prepare yourself for that huge event?
I think performance it's a tricky one because the races are won and lost in such small margins. It really does come down to technically executing the best you possibly can. It's all good and well doing 4 years worth of the best training you've ever done on the track, but if mentally or technically or nutritionally you're not ready for the event, it's you're just not going to perform where you need to. So it's a combination of all of those things that sort of make a great performance at the end of the day. And I think certainly mentally it's about running through like what Tyler said, it's just another competition, running through the same process you do every other competition. And for my role, it's about getting out of the start gate as cleanly and quickly as I can and delivering Sam and Eddie to come through underneath me flying. So yeah, it really is just about executing technically well.
And Tyler, are you going to do another games? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, then I can ask you this question. So this is quite a deep question from Sanson from customer service. He basically says, what will you do differently, if anything, in preparing for Tokyo to bring home the gold?
Well, personally, I didn't have the best prep leading into to the Rio Olympics. I hadn't played for about 6 months before I actually played in Rio due to a couple of injuries. 3 months, just over 3 months ago, I dislocated the kneecap, so kind of wasn't in the best kind of, I guess, prep leading into Rio. But that's probably one thing that I look at, trying to just try and stay injury free as possible. But it's kind of something you can't control. But for me, playing there, I kind of just, as a team, it's a team sport, so you rely on each other, and I wouldn't change anything really. We went out there, we emptied the tank, did our best. At the end of the day, Aussie just took their opportunities a bit more than what we did and came across the line winners. But I think I'm pretty proud of what we did as a team and what we achieved.
Awesome. So get ready for questions from you guys, because that's next. I'm going to ask Ethan one more question. You guys are up here now. Obviously, there's a massive support team behind you. Can you talk us through the types of people that work in the background of your campaign?
It's incredible. Seriously, it's incredible. Unsung heroes, really. We've got a sports psych team. We've got nutritionists and mechanics and coaching staff and physiologists and aerodynamicists and bike makers, and it really is just this massive group of people that contribute to the three glory boys that get to take all the credit on the day. So it's pretty special to see that, you know, we've got 20 plus people who are putting their heart and soul into winning a medal just as much as we are. And we've got a pretty amazing team behind us who are willing to lay it all down like that, and we certainly wouldn't be winning medals if it wasn't for them.
So, well, we've got the crew here, and obviously you can see their medals shortly. Does anyone have any questions from the floor? Yeah, shout it out. So the question was, there was a lot of controversy around Rio, but what was it actually like once you got there?
We were really fortunate that the New Zealand Olympic team, that Rob and the whole crew, they were the first nation to move into any of the towers in the entire Olympic Village, and they got absolutely stuck in, and the whole athlete support network that was there, it happened to be that everyone that came away either had some trade skill of plumbing, building, electrical experience, so it was actually really handy that they didn't rely on all of the village electricians to get everything to happen. So that meant that our building was complete before any of the athletes even got there, whereas the Australians had athletes move in and then move out to a hotel while they finished that work. So for us, it was exceptional to, you know, walk in, drop your bag, have a good sleep, sweet as. And Rio was fantastic, very festive. All of the support staff sort of inside the village were great. Probably the only gripe was security at the main stadium, Velodrome. So there's 9 different entry points, and we got turned away from 6 of them one day. We've got our accreditation that lets us in, but just because we've got bikes and they don't want you to take a bike through, they send you to another one. You turn up to that one, they send you to another one, they send you back, you go there, and you're sort of going, right, 2 hours until race. All right, it's an hour and a half until I race, let me through. So that's one of the things you come to expect dealing with Latin America, but no, it's something that I look back on fondly, and it was a great experience.
So the question was, how did it feel having Richie McCaw? How did Richie McCaw come to watch and being part? Well, I think he was watching a few events. Yeah.
I'm not too sure if he came and watched the Sevens, but yeah, we did see him around a bit. It was pretty cool to see him obviously there supporting not only his wife but also the rest of the New Zealand Olympic team. I know he got a bit of stick in the media about being the bad luck and all that, but you know, at the end of the day, we make our own luck, and it's about us going out there and getting the job done, really.
He was where there was a Kiwi house where all the supporters and stuff went after racing to watch and support other athletes, and I don't know if he says this to everyone, but he said to me that he was in the crowd I saw him in the crowd for the team sprint, but he said it was the most nervous he'd been in between our second ride and the final out of the whole games. But we're gonna claim that anyway. Fingers crossed.
We were just happy he was talking to us. I was a bit like that guy from the MasterCard ads. Richie!
Yeah, go for it.
This one's for Tyler. How was the men sevens team when they caught up with you after you guys got your medals, and how'd you feel about being, you know, the silver medalists when they didn't make it through?
Yeah, obviously the boys were they're pretty gutted with how they performed. They don't usually get emotional, but they did get a bit, so they didn't really get to where they kind of set their goal to obviously podium and get on the podium, but they were definitely very supportive and proud of what we had achieved, and that's all we asked for really. And we were all there supporting them as well, turned up to their games and showed our support for them, so it was really good to get that back from them as well, and just for them to kind of be there for us and us for them.
I was just wondering if there's any etiquette in terms of the village. Say if you're competing the next day, you don't want everyone partying till 3 a.m. next door. Do you put like a little sticker on your door saying competing or anything like that?
We didn't really operate a system like that. We had quite a cool setup in sort of the apartment that we had. So we had 5 bedrooms in our apartment. Some are shared, some were single bedrooms. And so at the start we had George Bennett and Linda Willemson from the road cycling team. And so they were in the first couple of days while we first arrived there. And then, so while they competed, we were trying to be there to support and keep it quite low key in the apartment so that they weren't getting too wound up or anything like that. And then as soon as they left, we had Trent Jones from BMX move in. So during our competition period, Trent was there, and I think when you have that mix of people in competition and either about to start or finished, it then means that everyone keeps quite calm, and you often find a way to not think and not talk about performance or talk about what's coming up. It's quite refreshing to have some people that you know reasonably well, but that you don't spend every day with, to then have some quite funny conversations and talk about what's happened in their build-up, because often everybody's build-ups, something goes wrong. Everything goes wrong most of the time, but it's about how you deal with it. And when you're talking to everybody about what happened to them 2 weeks ago, their bags went missing, everything seems to happen to athletes, and all those common stories sort of means that you rally together. And that was probably the best thing for us, that in that apartment it meant that we were sort of all in it, and we were all trying to push each other on to get the best result we could.
I think with athletes as well, we all talk a big game as though we party till 3 a.m, but everyone's in bed by 12 anyway, so it's not all that glamorous, really.
Just, Ethan, just with regard to the etiquette in the village, there is free McDonald's, well, there used to be. Does that queue get longer at McDonald's as the week goes through, or does everyone sort of stay on the salads and bread?
No, it definitely gets longer as competition finishes. Free McDonald's. Eric Murray came back after the hockey girls finished up with the maximum you can order was 20 orders in one. So he came back, I think it was with 20 combos for the hockey girls waiting on the tables as they came in. So he definitely made the most of the free McDonald's, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we racked up a bill about 600 New Zealand dollars for one big feast for most of the New Zealand team. The line was getting pretty long. I think it ended up getting between 14 minutes to an hour wait, but it was definitely worth it.
There was a special room for athletes for New Zealand team especially. It's like a quiet room. I forgot the name of the room. So what was the room about, and what was, can you brief?
Yeah, so New Zealand operates a really, really cool system that no other nations do. So on the first level of the tower that we were in, they had the communal meeting room, I guess. So it's where you go to sign in and sign out to say, I'm off to my training venue, I'm leaving at 10, I'll be back at 4, and I'm catching this bus, so that everybody knows where you are. But also they've built sort of a bit of a pallet grandstand, and they've put a bit of AstroTurf down, there's bean bags there, and then 3 TVs all set up so you can support other New Zealand athletes in competition. It's a great place to either spend some time to calm the nerves to watch other people compete and pass the days leading in, or also support others after competition, or have a sleep like Rebecca Scown did after competition. So it's great to have that. But there's also, on the top floor, there was a quiet room for if people wanted to get away from everyone else, where they can go read a book quietly, not in the same room as your roommate, or to have a meeting with your coach quietly away from everything else. So to have the balance between those two things, it's nice to be able to have different places where there's a mutual understanding between everyone there what the space is used for, and it means that it's just that little bit more homely in what is quite an alien environment.
So look, please join me in thanking the 3 Skynex athletes for coming in today. They're going to be here for some, do you guys do selfies? All right. They've got their medals with them. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy for you to hold them and have a look. But yeah, just join me in thanking Tyla, Sam and Ethan from the Skynex team.
Hey, how are you?
What I wanted is feel Kiwi.
You can't wear it too long until we found out how they do it. That motivation is exciting. So proud. Thank you very much. And away from the next. But now that looks awkward. But yeah, just hold them up. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Oh, that's such a good photo. Yeah. Away from each other.